Hey guys, Lisa Callaghy here to share with you a video on how to interpret placement test scores for reading eggs. This is not to be confused with the previous video entitled How to Interpret Placement Test Results, because in this video we're going to talk about what these scores actually represent in terms of reading eggs, reading, spelling, and Clinker Castle results. Okay, so let's get started. Here I am on a teacher's management page, and we are in the Manage Progress section. And here is where I can see the guide that will interpret the actual score my students received in these three pieces that make up the placement test. So for reading, they get a score. So I could take that score and I could come up here and see, okay, my student scored a 61 and that falls within grade 1. But what within grade 1? And same with spelling. I could look back and look to see their score and see where it falls. Okay, they're in kindergarten. So I could see the grade level, but I don't really see what skills they know, or they're going to know what they need to know next, the building blocks of reading. So that's what this video is about. It's going to show you what that means. So let's just take, for example, the student who scored a 61 in reading. And let me show you where you can find that interpretation. There is a PDF, and I'll show you where to get that in a second. But I just want to bring that PDF up that helps you to interpret these scores. And it's called the Placement Test Overview for Reading Eggs. So basically it's saying, what does your student's placement level mean? Well, first of all, you should know that reading eggs placement tests assess what students already know. So you'll be able to tell from their placement level what they already know and what they need to know. And that's what this PDF is going to tell you. So for our student that had a 61, we could look here and see, okay, the placement lesson is number 1, and the next lessons 1 to 10 will show what they know and what they need to study. So I'm looking for 61 or 64. I'm not sure. Let me see. 61. So let me come back here and see. Up, 61. Now, what if my student scored a 64? I would still be here in 61 because 61, the placement lesson is where you start for your next 10 lessons. So, what does that mean? In reading eggs, students have maps, and it is just a page that has a sequence of different spots on this map, and those spots are numbered in lessons. So each map has 10 lessons. So you could see map the map that has lesson 41 also has lesson 42 all the way up to 50. And this here under the red headings tells you what they know and then what they will study next within those 10 lessons. So for my student who scored a 61, I know that this student knows all their consonant letters, sounds, all short vowel sounds, long E sounds. They can read short vowels, long vowels, words ending in Y. You could see all of this. Then it's telling me what they will study next. Word families, high frequency words. And that's right there for you. So that gives you an idea of where your students fall in terms of their placement test scores as they build their skills to learn how to read. And you can see they are in the beginning to read stages, step 2. They are an emergent reader. And as they move forward on the reading eggs maps, you'll see that they will continue to work. And if they move up, their confidence is being built and they are assessed as an early reader. So you can always reassess your students. There's a video on how to reset the placement test so that you can see how your students have improved. But this PDF is going to show you what actual skills are related to the scores that they receive in the placement test. Now, the second part here of the placement test results in reading eggs is spelling. And in this PDF, if scrolling down even further, now you can see what the spelling results mean. So if a student scored between 1 and 8, they are starting from the beginning, and this is what they will study next, and so forth. So you can see where they fall, what they know, and what they're going to study using this chart. It also explains to you the grade level that the student is on when their scores are interpreted. Grade 1 are between lessons 33 and 64, K 1 and 32, and grade 2 is lesson 65 and higher. Okay, now there's another way to actually see what the students are faced with in reading eggs from their perspective. So even though we can look and see on this chart what the students already know and what they're going to learn, you can actually see it in the Reading Eggs platform. So let's say, for example, we want to look at what lesson 61 actually looks like. Coming back into Reading Eggs, coming down to the Reading Eggs section on the left-hand side menu bar, if you click on Lessons, you'll see at the top, Reading Eggs, Maps, and Lessons. This is going to give you access to preview the actual lesson as if you were the student on Reading Eggs. There's also resources that are associated with each lesson. Before I jump down into the preview and resources, I just would like to bring your attention to the top here to these 3 links. The reading link is associated with, back to the management, the reading score here under Reading Eggs on this grade by grade guide. The spelling and the Clinker Castle are also related in the lessons. Storylands is Clinker Castle, and the Skills Bank is the spelling. So to go into any one of these areas, just simply click and then click on the map number, the lesson number that is associated with your student back here in the Manage Progress screen. So if your student in spelling scores a 35, you can pop over to the lessons to the Skills Bank, which is spelling, and you could look for lesson 35, or you could just search 35 while you're in Skills Bank, and lesson 35 pops up for you. Same with Storylands. If you know your students' score for Storylands, which is Clinker Castle, you can type that in here. Okay. Let's see, lesson 19. 20? All right, let's just click on Storylands. Let's see. Okay. So lesson 5, lesson 4, lesson 7. These are all the lessons. It doesn't go up that high. Lesson 20 I asked for and it didn't give it to me. Anyway, so this is where you would find your Storylands or Clinker Castle lesson related back to your student score on their placement test, and then the Reading Eggs. Okay, so say now we want to look at the students lesson where they placed lesson 61. You could click on preview and it's going to actually open up lesson 61 as if you're the student. So you can go ahead and check out what your student is going to be working with here in Reading Eggs. Okay. Also, you have some resources. So let's start with the teacher PDF. You have lesson plans here that directly relate back to this lesson. They give you objectives, some sight words, vocabulary words, extra assistance, your state standards correlations, some classroom activities. Then it down here it um, aligns with what the student will be working with on the computer. So the Reading Eggs lesson sequence, this is the animated lesson. They will listen to that. They will be introduced to the words me and be. They will practice and identify and read the words me and be in isolation in a sentence. And then there are worksheets that accompany this online lesson. And I'll show you where to access those worksheets because they are obviously not on the computer while the student is working within the program. You would have to print those out. And then scrolling down, there are related Reading Eggs activities, interactive songs, and books. I'm going to make a video specifically addressing this page so I can show you where to find all of this in Reading Eggs. And with some of these, you're able to assign them to your students. Okay, let's get back to our lesson resources. And here, the student PDF is where the worksheets reside. So you're able to access the worksheets here and then print them out for your student or your students to work alongside with their online lesson. The student PDF is also available in Spanish. So that's for reading. The Clinker Castle, you can also preview. Your resources are just a student and teacher PDF. There is no Spanish translation. And the Skills Bank, which is related to their spelling score. Again, you can preview, search up here for a specific lesson, and then again, you have the teacher and student PDFs related to that lesson. There is also a Reading Eggs, user guide, or teacher guide, I should say, to help teachers navigate and learn the different areas of Reading Eggs. There is a correlation chart to help with the lessons and maps, how they relate back to all the different reading levels depending on which type of assessment you use. So you have that. And then it'll explain to you the different parts of Reading Eggs online, how the students work through their different rewards. And then the lesson overviews. These are the maps that I was saying. There are 10 lessons within each map. As you can see, the lessons are numbered here in sequence on a path for each map. And it kind of goes over the skills, what they're starting out, the age level, grade level, and where they are on in terms of their reading acquisition. So it has here a lesson overview for you for all of the different levels and lessons and maps. And then finally, it goes into the different program features and resources, specifically that the students have on their dashboards when they log in, and you can take a look at all of that. And then there's the library. So it shows you the library and how to find different books based upon their reading levels. And I'll show you how to assign those to your students in a subsequent video. So lastly, I'd just like to show you how to download this Reading Eggs teacher guide, and then also the placement test overview. Back in Reading Eggs, under quick links, you have user guides, the Reading Eggs placement overview. You could just click on that and download as a PDF. And then you have the Reading Eggs teaching guide. So you can download that. And there are others here that you can look at. I'm going to be going over in my next video the interpreting the placement test scores for Reading Express, and they will be getting their guides from here as well. All right, guys, so this has been a video on how to interpret placement test scores for Reading Eggs. I hope this helps. Have a great day.